Today we're going to be speaking with James McFarland, who is the Urban League's Technology Center Director. He has been with us for a number of years, probably for more than 10 years, and we are so delighted to have him on our crew. Today, he's going to be speaking about becoming a strong candidate. So, this is becoming a strong candidate for your next employer. And so, this webinar series is brought to you by Truist, who is formerly known as BB&T. And so, without further ado, I want to welcome James McFarland to the screen. And James, I'll turn everything over to you.
Thanks, Anissa. Before the pandemic hit, I used to meet with people and we used to talk about building resumes and job searches. Then after the pandemic hit, we were no longer able to do job searches in person and or do resumes in person. So Anissa went out and she found this website called NextJob. Now NextJob, let me come out of this. NextJob is a website that does everything that I used to do when I met with people and teaching them job searches. So I'm going to walk you through how NextJob works and some of the features in NextJobs and teach you to maneuver around in the NextJob arena. Hold on 1 second, I just lost my Zoom feed. Hold on. All right, there we go. If you're able to see the screen, when you first get to NextJob, you will come to a sign-in screen where they're going to ask you to enter your access code. The access code can be obtained from the Urban League's Facebook page, but once you enter your access code, it will be will hit submit. It will prompt you to a login or a registration page. The registration page is just like any other registration page you'll come across. It's going to ask you for pertinent information such as your name, your address, but you also have to have an email address because your email address will be your user ID. So once you go ahead, once you go ahead and register for the NextJob website, all you have to do is hit submit and it's going to take you to the login page. Now, once you log in, it's going to bring you to, you want to click on your home page. And I'll talk about these tabs along the screen here in a few minutes, but you want to go to your home page and it's going. Now, once you get to your home page, you're going to see several things on your home page. You're going to see a Indeed job search engine.
James, let me interrupt you for just a second. We cannot see your screen.
Go ahead.
So if you would take
hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Thank you. We see you.
Now, can you see the screen? Okay. We've submitted our access code. We've logged in. Now we're on our home screen. What the home screen has is an Indeed search engine right there in the beginning. It also has a training report to progress your training as you go through the training modules. Has videos and it has goals. And we'll talk about some of this stuff as we go along. But one of the first things I want to do is show you a video and then we'll move on from there.
Lewis Carroll once said something that's very applicable to your job search. If you don't know where you're going, then it doesn't matter which way you go. On significant journeys, sometimes it can be tough to know where to start. It can be discouraging to know that it takes the average person several months to land a job. But I do have some really good news for you. Research shows that people who are proactive and who sharpen their job search skills can increase their odds of landing a job by 60%. And one of the best ways to be proactive is to have specific goals. Because by setting goals, you can break up your job search into manageable pieces. For example, let's say you want to run a half marathon in 3 months. Do you just go out one day and try running 13 miles? I don't think so. You break down your larger goal into smaller goals. And first of all, you got to get the right pair of shoes. You got to plan how many days it's going to take you to get ready for the race. And you've got to determine how many miles you're going to run each day and each week to reach that final goal. So with that in mind, we've analyzed what it takes to run a great race to your next job. And we've broken it down into a short list of the most important goals that will help you land your next job faster. So which goals are right for you? Maybe it's time to create a dynamic career summary for your resume, or maybe it's time to practice the difficult interview questions that are going to come down the road. Or maybe it's even time to do some research on the job boards that are in your local area to determine where you should be spending most of your time. Whatever your goals are, you can set them here, and you can keep a pace that gets you to that finish line. So pick as many goals as you like, and you can even customize goals for yourself. And if you'd like to learn more about the other features, take a look at the overview tour video on this page. But before you do, don't forget to pick your goals, because we know that's going to help you land your next job faster. Simply click on the button that says pick your goals, and you're going to be on your way.
Okay, now what she was talking about by pick your goals is this tab right here. If you select that tab, Next Job has already come up with some preset goals that they think are important for you to accomplish if you're going to land a job. Here's a look at some of the goals. Complete your resume, write a powerful resume summary, take a personality assessment. There's several goals here. So you just select which goal you think you need to accomplish. After selecting them, you just scroll down and you save it. Now, what Next Job does is they give you what they presume to be an expected completion date of these goals. And if you look through here, you'll see that they have a little double arrow. If you click on that double arrow, it's going to take you directly to the planning module or the training module that addresses that particular goal. So again, and you can also create your own goals. If you see a goal that you think that needs to be accomplished and it's not already a pre-existing goal, you can go ahead and create you a new goal by just filling out these tabs, put a completion, when you expect to start it, when you expect to complete it, and go that way. So there's several ways to add goals to this homepage. Again, this homepage contains the Indeed job search engine, a training progress report page to let you know how far you are in the Next Job training modules, and goals. Now, once you've set your goals, you need to come up with a plan in order to complete those goals. So I'm gonna click on the Your Plan tab. Now this website works in many different ways. It shows videos, it has interactive activities that you can do, and it also has plenty of articles that you can read to help you better understand what they're trying to convey to you. So what we're gonna do now is look at another video, and then after this video, all these videos are short, anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, minute and a half at the longest. So we're gonna look at another one, and then after that one, we're gonna talk about setting a plan to complete your goals.
The average person has a new job every 3 years. That's often enough to make us want to be excellent at changing jobs, but not so often that many of us are.
I was always taking the job that first came to me because I wasn't getting the amount of job offers that I needed. So essentially that ended up kind of being a vicious cycle, and it kind of reflects some of the past job decisions in my career.
Finding and landing a new job is hard work and one of the most stressful parts of life. Fortunately, you don't have to do your job search alone. We're here to help you be effective and save time. We've waded through volumes of the best job search wisdom, unwritten rules and tricks of the trade, and we've summarized it all into 7 easy steps to your next job. Along the way, you'll have the opportunity to explore your personality, passion, and career direction. You'll also write an excellent resume and begin to market yourself.
You have to get through all the no's to get to the yeses. But it turns out there are a lot of yeses.
Find the best jobs on the internet, as well as the many jobs that are not advertised, by contacting employers directly through a proven method.
That has landed me more interviews and more job offers than I've ever had in any position before in my life.
And finally, you'll learn how to interview well and do so with confidence.
After the fact, my regional manager had told me that I blew them all away.
We've not only pulled together the best resources, We've also interviewed recent job seekers, job search experts, and experienced hiring managers and asked them for their advice. Throughout, you will see that our focus is not only on your next job, but also on your career.
Okay, so as you go through the Your Plan tab learning module, you'll learn key job skills to help, you'll learn key job searching skills to help you land a job. And you're also gonna learn how to be proactive in your job search. So some of these, I'm gonna click on and show you how some of these things work. Each one of these is a step, and in these steps or topics, they're subtopics. So I'm gonna click expand all, and it shows you the subtopics underneath each individual topic. Now, one of the things that you're gonna wanna do to accomplish the goals that you set earlier is to create a weekly schedule. Well, excuse me, let's go to build a great job search plan. We're gonna click on that. This, as you go through, it tells you all about this training module. But the one thing that I wanted to show you on this training module is most of these have a notepad at the end of the section where it allows you to type notes about the section, and it saves those notes. But this is the description of the plan that you need to follow to complete the modules to become a successful candidate. Now, not all of these are going to apply to you. So what you want to do is scroll down, figure out which one of the criteria apply to you, and look to see how much time each one of them is going to take. And after you do that, that ought to be able to give you a good indication of how much time you're going to need to spend on your job search. So again, this is a printable schedule. Here's the print things up here. You just click print, it will print it out, go through it, look to see what applies. It'll tell you how much time they expect you to spend on that. And again, after going through that and selecting the things that you need to spend, the things that you need to accomplish, you'll be able to determine how much time you can allocate to your job search. All right. So now, maneuvering through this job search website, there's page tabs over here, page up, page down, but you'll see that these correlate to the expand all. It's the same thing. You just click step 1, step 2, step 3, and this page 1, page 2, page 3. So there's several ways to maneuver through this, and this is one of the ways that you could maneuver through this. And they also have the next buttons that will take you the back of the next button, which will take you to the next page or back a page. So now, after you went through, you determined what your schedule needs to be in order to do your, you determined what the schedule is set up to complete your goals, then you go ahead and save it, and then you're going to move on. The next thing we're going to talk about is the career direction that you're going to go through. Now, before we go through this career direction, again, this website has lots of videos. So we're going to play another one that's going to introduce you to career direction, and then we'll talk about that.
Have you ever felt lost? Or that you might be happier in a different field of work? Or maybe you've wondered what your greatest strengths really are? Because there are many directions you can go, pointing in the right direction can make a big difference in achieving your goals. So invest a little time here. Studies show that people are happiest and most effective when they spend their day in work that simply matches who they are. As you begin your job search, this is a good time to think about how you are built. We'll start with your passions and personality and help you consider key questions. We'll provide a personality profile that offers insight into jobs and careers that match your makeup. You'll survey your values and skills to see how they play into your job search. Understanding your transferable skills can open up a whole new realm of possibilities. Finally, we'll put all the results together to help you better understand how to focus your job search so you can not only find a job quickly, but also find a job that pursues your passions. Let's get started.
Now, as I was through the career direction module, I discovered this module teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you to understand who you are, what your interests are, what your job skills are, and what your values are. Click on this. And what it does, it asks you several questions about these things, but it also gives you a personality assessment. And it wants you to complete the personality assessment so you can determine if you're in the right job. Now, and it says more, it offers several personality assessments. It wants you to take more than one. It wants you to take multiple personality assessments. And then it wants you to compare those assessments to see if they match. And if they do, then that's probably the field that you should be in. And it has activities that ask you your interests, and it goes through and it asks you to fill these things out. It asks you your skill levels, your transferable skills, your natural skills, and your core values. It asks you all these things. And what it does when it asks you these things, it forces you to think about yourself. It forces you to understand what you really want to do. And it saves this information to be used later in your resume builder, which we will talk about. And another thing that I saw when going through this is when they ask you questions, these are potential questions that prospective employees can ask you. So you will be able to, you would have already thought about the questions by going through these skills. So when the interviewer asks you something, would have already thought about it, so you will be prepared with that answer. And again, this is obtained by going through these different modules and answering these questions and completing the task or the activities that they have. It asks you about your traits, asks you about your jobs and strategies. So this is a wonderful tab. And again, this tab lets you know if you had it on the right path. There's a little story I want to tell you about this career direction. I teach a couple other classes, and one of the classes I teach is a fiber optics class. I had one of the students who was attending the class, and we were talking, and he had sent out several resumes. And by the time the class ended, about 2 weeks after, he was starting to get notifications on the resumes. He had gotten 2 job offers from the resumes he sent out. And then he called me and he said, not only did he get the 2 job offers, he had applied for a grant to go back to school. And he was asking me, what should I do? Should I take the cabling job, the plumbing job, or should I go back to school? I told him, I don't know. I said, it's up to you. So I said, but I say that to say, if he went through this career direction tab or module, and he did the personality assessment, and he answered some of those questions, then he would probably have a better understanding of what job best fits him. So you definitely want to go through the career direction tab so that you can understand what career you want to be headed into. With that, I'm going to take a little break and throw it back to Anissa so she can tell us some of the things that the Urban League offers.
Thank you, James. Very insightful first session. I really enjoyed that piece of the puzzle. I did want to share, when you were talking about the personality assessments, I think one of the things that's really interesting is I'm a very detail-oriented person. And so when considering a possible job, not that I'm leaving the Urban League anytime soon, but in considering a possible position, I would be probably highly suited for a job in the medical field. But if I'm not detail-oriented, then chances are I have no business working in the medical field and handling, say, prescriptions and, following out doctor's orders. So that's one of the benefits of actually participating in the personality assessments that you shared. So thank you for that. I do want to share with everyone a cabling class. You heard James mention it just briefly, but we do have a cabling and fiber optics training that's coming up in June. Those sessions there's 3 of them, June 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th, and he'll be conducting those classes from 6 until 8:30 p.m. at the Urban Leagues Technology Center. Now you might ask, what in the world is fiber optics? So when you think about connecting to the internet, one of the ways that we're doing it now, even faster than the plug and play cable, is through fiber optics. And so these are like hair-like fibers that allow the transmission of information to be faster. And so right now we've got several partners in that industry. Specifically speaking, and an upcoming webinar is from Metronet, who all they ask is that our individuals who are applying for a position with them start out with their resume. And so in using the information that James is sharing today, it will help you to create your resume. We can share that with Metronet, and chances are you will get an interview. Now, one of the great things about the fiber or telecommunications industry is those skills are sometimes transferable. So you could also work in security. just doing a number of things like that that deal with cables and fibers, and that's what this training will set you out on a strong pathway to do. So with that, I will turn it back over to James, but before I do, let me mention one thing. So if you are interested in the software that he has been showing today, then I ask that you go to this registration site that you see highlighted here in red. You can use that, or you can, if you have a smartphone, what you can do is go to your camera and focus in on this funny looking square at the bottom right hand corner, and that will allow you to go to the site in order to register. So we are asking that you register for this webinar, the one that is going on today, and then we'll send you the access code and everything you need to access the software that James is using. All right? Thank you. And now back to you, James.
All right. Now, the reason we're having this webinar is so you can become a strong candidate. So, a strong candidate for a job. So I'm gonna go to Miss Carly to see if she has any job openings she can tell us about. Miss Carly.
Yes, I do. Good afternoon. We have the United Way of the Bluegrass is hiring for a special assistant to the CEO. The job pays $45,000 a year, it's a full-time position. It's 3 to 5 years experience, executive level assistance or bachelor's degree or equivalent work experience. Also have Goodwill Industries of Kentucky is Cars to Work coordinator. It's a full-time position. A bachelor's degree is preferred, and it's 1 to 3 years work experience providing services to individuals with disabilities or disadvantages.
Thank you, Miss Carly, for telling us about those jobs. And I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again, and we're gonna go back to the Next Job website. Anissa, can you see that? Is my screen being shared? Or do you see the Next Job website, or are we seeing something else?
No, sir, I'm looking at you right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me figure out. Let me get this going. All right. I'm clicking shared screen and nothing is happening. All right. Hold on, we'll get this. There we go. All right. Now, Miss Carly has told you about some of the job openings out there. And in order to fill those jobs, you're going to need a resume. So we're going to look at the resume training module. People often ask, why are resumes important? I'm going to play a couple of videos and they're going to show you why resumes are important. So listen to these.
Any idea how long a hiring manager takes to look at a resume?
You're trying to make the best decision on the shortest amount of time spent with an individual.
I usually take about 20 seconds whenever I'm looking through a resume.
When I'm reading resumes, I'm looking for something that differentiates that candidate from others and their accomplishments.
I'm looking for a resume that is well written and one that stands out and shows me immediately why they're going to be right for the job.
A good overview, short summary, capturing what other previous work experience this individual has had.
Unless you grab someone's attention in that first 20 seconds, it's going to get skimmed over if it's not of value to that organization.
An experienced hiring manager often takes less than 20 seconds to look at a resume. That's the bad news. The good news is we designed our resume builder to help you avoid the most common mistakes job seekers make in writing their resume. In this section, we'll show you how to avoid fluff in your resume. Write a brief but effective description of your job responsibilities. Identify your notable accomplishments from each job. Write effectively about your background, whatever it is. And boil it all down to a summary statement that will catch a hiring manager's eye in 20 seconds or less. We've made it easy to do and laid it out step by step. So let's get started.
Okay, another one I want to show, a person asked a question, if I'm applying for a job that only requires an application, do I need to send a resume in? And here's the answer based on Next Job.
Even if a position only required an application, the resume gave me more information on the individual.
When a position only requires an application, it always impresses me when it's accompanied with a resume or cover letter as well.
When individuals come into our store looking for job applications, unfortunately, it's not a road that we choose to take. And we really look for those people who do want to represent themselves in a professional, clear, precise manner. And we feel a resume is the only way to present yourself when it comes to looking for a job.
So you see, resumes are important. And the fact that a hiring manager only takes 20 seconds to look at the resume, you need to know that you need to add information in the resume that will grab their attention. And this is what this training module does. Again, I'm gonna click on the expanded tab. And what it's gonna do, it's gonna show you different resume layouts that you can use. And we'll look at a lot of this stuff later because I'm gonna be doing other webinars, 30-minute webinars, talking about specific parts of this Next Job website. But what it does, it gives you layouts of different resumes. It asks you to enter this information, and it tells you why this information is important as you enter it and why they want you to enter it. And as you go down, you'll see contact information, education, experience. These are all things that appear on the resume. So what they do, they tell you how they want you to put it in, how they want you to format it, and they save it for you in a file that can be accessed by this resume builder. So there's two ways, again, to build resumes on this Next Job website. You can answer these questions and it will save this information for you. And after you finish, it will print it out in a resume format, or you can go directly to the resume builder. Now, we haven't talked about these tabs up here at the top of the screen, or these icons, but they take you directly. Well, let me click on this plan icon first, and then we'll go look at the resume builder. If you notice, this plan icon shows you the same thing that we looked at once we went through the My Plan program, the My Plan tab. It's the exact same thing, but now we're going to go to the resume builder. But what I want you to see while you're using these icons up here, when you click on them, these tabs up here change. So if you see that these tabs are changing, the tabs that you're used to looking at are no longer there, don't worry, there's ways to get out of that. You can click on the home page or the home tab, and it takes you back to what you're used to seeing. All right. So again, you can build your resume through answering these questions on the resume training module, or you can go directly to the resume builder. Now, once you're here at the resume builder, you can just click on whatever information that you think that needs to be clicked on, such as contact. You're going to see some stuff in these fields, not in all the fields, but you're going to see stuff in these fields as I click on them. So you click on it, it's going to have your contact information. Now, it draws this information directly from the registration sheet. When you register for the website, you'll see that there's headlines, summaries, education, experience, criteria, certifications, all things that are important to be on the resume. Now, let's say I don't want a headline on the resume, or I don't want to put my personal interests on the resume. Well, you can come up to the View tab. You can click on the View tab, and it shows you what subjects are going to be displayed for you to enter information into. So let's say, let me go ahead and click on highlights and testimonials. Now they appear. Let's say I don't want the headline on there. If you click on it, now it's gone. It's no longer on the page. So that's how you determine what can be displayed on your resume, by coming to the View tab and only selecting those things that you want on your resume. Now, as you look at this resume builder, you may say, hey, I don't want my summary at the top of the page. I want it more down at the bottom of the page. I want my experience to be moved up to the top of the page. It's easily handled with the resume builder. You click on it, or you move over till you get your double arrows, and it's just like any other drag drop application. You just move it to where you want it to be. So that's how you arrange where things appear on this resume through the resume builder. Another thing that you can do on the resume builder is you can import resumes. Let's say you've created a resume and you got it on your jump drive, or you have it in the cloud, or you have it wherever you have stored. So you don't want to type all this information in. You just want to upload a resume that's already there so it can be accessed through the Next Job website. This is just like uploading any other file. You choose the location, you find the file's name, and then you click upload. And it will upload the file into the My Resumes tab, and it'll show you all the resumes that you have on file. And you can toggle through them by just clicking on which resume you want to see. And another thing that this can do, you can download the resume. So, and again, you just click on download and it'll download the resume that you have displayed in the resume builder. Also, you see there's a spell check on here. So it spell checks your resume. So this is a great way to build a resume quick and dirty through the resume builder. Or again, see how these tabs have changed? And I want to go back to my homepage tab. I'm gonna get there another way this time, besides clicking home. I'm gonna click on the training icon. If you click on the training icon, it takes you right back to the pages that you're used to seeing. So 2 ways of making a resume on NextJob. Go through the resume training module, answer the questions, enter the information, do the activities. By the time you finish, a resume will be built. Or go to the resume builder, add your information, and do it that way. Now that we've completed a resume, the next thing we're going to have to do is a job search. There's several types of job searches you can do. They talk about visible jobs, hidden jobs. I'm going to click on visible jobs. Visible jobs are jobs that appear on job boards. There's several, this site has several job boards that it can introduce you to. Let me expand. Job board directories, let's go there. If you go to the job board directory, first of all, you'll see that it tells you the type of jobs boards that it has on the site. Let's say we go to the job board directory. It brings up a directory of several different job boards, government job boards, military job boards, specialty job boards, a plethora of job boards. So you can come here and spend all day clicking through job boards and see if you can find something that interests you. Now, that's visible jobs, jobs that you can see based on job boards. What are hidden jobs? Well, again, I love videos. Let's see if they can tell you about hidden jobs.
Even in a slow economy, U.S. employers make over 50 million hires a year. Most people would never know this because 80% of those jobs simply aren't advertised. And here's why.
Many times I did not advertise openings because I was too busy.
Because we have connections through our patients, through our current employees and other colleagues.
Because of these applicants, these proactive individuals that brought us resumes in times when we weren't looking for people to fill positions, these are the types of folks that we're looking for. And 99% of the time, we find the right people coming to us versus us having to go and look for them.
Many times we don't advertise openings right away because we're busy. It takes time. We don't want to spend the money to go and just market these positions immediately. We'd rather find someone who's in our own personal network or someone that we know.
Advice to a job seeker is that their network is invaluable. And I would fully encourage them to seek out jobs and to find the hiring managers and approach them.
The good news is we have an easy way to successfully go after those jobs that aren't advertised. In this section, we'll help you market yourself. First, we'll explore the #1 way people are hired today, networking. Then you'll tap the best sites and tricks on the internet so you won't be wondering where to look and/or what you're missing. Next, we'll walk you through the direct job search approach to find and get hidden jobs. You'll start by researching and building a list of employers that meet your criteria. Then you'll learn how to approach your target employers using a proven method that's simple to follow. And because those jobs are harder to find, if you do your work, you'll have less competition and more success. So, let's get started.
Good. Now, again, visible jobs are jobs that are displayed on job boards and things of that nature. Hidden jobs are jobs that are not advertised. These are the jobs you get through your own personal networking. So if you go through this module, it will teach you about building your network and the different type of networking strategies you can use to get hidden jobs. I want to go back to something. I want to go back to my resume module. We talked about building the resume, but one of the things this module shows you, because once you build a resume, you're going to need references to accomplish that resume. And this talks about, it shows a nice video about how you can ask someone to be your reference. And I want you to take a look at that. It demonstrates a caller calling a person, I guess it used to be her boss, it really doesn't say, but how you ask for references.
Hello, this is John.
Hi, John. This is Beth. How are you?
Hey, Beth. Oh, things are good here. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm really focused on my job search right now, and I have a handful of opportunities. So I was calling to see if you'd be willing to be a reference for me.
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to, Beth.
Thank you. I'm applying for a job with Robert's Company as a payroll clerk, and I'm pretty excited about this one.
Oh, good for you, Beth.
So what phone number should I use?
Why don't you use my work number here?
Okay, great. Thanks, John. Would you also be willing to write a short letter of recommendation for me as well?
Absolutely, Beth.
Wonderful. Thank you. If it would be helpful, I'll email my resume to you today along with some recommendation guidelines that I actually found online.
Okay, that'll work.
You know what? It's somewhat time sensitive. Do you have a guess of how long it might take to be able to send it back to me?
I'd say I can get to it by Thursday. Does that work for you?
Yes, that would be perfect. Thanks so much, John, for all your help. I truly appreciate it.
No problem, Beth. We'll talk to you soon.
Great. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Again, this website covers everything. So you see how she asked the person those specific questions so she would know when to expect when she'll expect the reference back. So it gives you an example of how they should be, how your references should be. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna turn it back over to Anissa so she can tell us about any of the programs that the Urban League have, and then we'll discuss other parts of this feature after we're finished with her. Thank you.
Thank you, James. I am happy to share with everyone that we do have another training coming up in Microsoft Word. Again, you can use the link here to register for that, or simply use your smartphone and act like you're taking a picture of this funny looking square here that will also take you to the registration page. That Microsoft Word training will be July 12th through the 29th, and that will be on Mondays and Thursdays for 3 hours, so between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Again, James McFarland, the one who's speaking to you now, is the one who's going to be leading us in that training. Microsoft Word is one of those platforms or softwares that is used in everyday office kind of work. So if you're interested in being an administrative assistant, like Ms. Carly was talking about, the special assistant to the United Way CEO, it would be helpful if you understood how to use Microsoft Word and some other Microsoft software that is common to the office space. So Microsoft Word is also used to create documents. If you weren't using our Next Job software that James is talking about today, you can also use Microsoft Word in order to create your own resume. And so with that, we'll turn it back over to James.
Thanks, Anissa. Ms. Carly, do you have any more job openings that you can tell us about?
Yes, I do, James. Northeast Mail Service is hiring for a data specialist. It pays $36,000 to $48,000 a year. Full-time employment. Qualifications is a high school or equivalent. Microsoft Excel 1 year preferred, and a data entry 1 year preferred. I also have YS Precision Stamping, metal stamping, and a job pays $16 to $17 an hour. Qualifications, night shift or night shift for high school equivalent, or 2 years automotive manufacturing is preferred.
Thank you, Ms. Carly. I think that job is in Georgetown, Kentucky, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All these jobs can be found on Indeed. And again, once you register for this website, Indeed will be right there on your homepage, that search engine. So all these jobs can be found there. All right. Let's get back to the Next Job website. Now, so far, we've discussed setting goals, creating a plan to accomplish those goals. In the Your Plan module, It'll give you an estimate about how much time you're going to spend on your job search. We've talked about career direction. That's where you take the assessments and you answer questions to learn more about yourself. Now, as you learn more about yourself, you can't help but to be more confident in yourself. So this can help you but be better in your interview, because you will have knowledge of some of the questions that they may ask you based on going through this career direction model. So we looked at that. You've taken assessments, so you now know what you think you may want to be doing. Then we looked at resumes. One of the surprising things is looking through resumes is the hiring manager only takes 20 seconds. Most hiring managers only take 20 seconds to skim through your resume before they decide to put what pile to put you in, the keep pile or the move on pile. So that resume has to be dynamic and catch their attention right off the start. But we're going to look at another tab right at this point called the long resume. And people ask, well, if he only takes the hiring manager only takes 20 seconds to look at my resume, why do I need a long resume? Well, again, back to the videos.
For many of us, interviewing feels like really important test taking. Interviews are full of questions. Time is usually limited, and we hope we don't forget something important.
Nobody knows this, but an interview is an open book review or test. So take your research materials with you. The best notes for the interview is your long resume. So take your time, build that long resume, and bring it with you.
In this section, you will prepare for an interview by building more notes for your open book test. This long resume will be a complete set of interview notes about your background. When it's finished, your long resume will be a great resource, which will build your confidence in the interviewing process and impress the hiring manager. So, let's get started writing it.
So your long resume is important because it gives you more information when you go into the interview to be prepared to answer any question that the interviewer may ask you. Now, we're going to go talk about the interviews. Again, I got one more video to show you, and this is probably the last video of the day that I'm going to show you before I talk about other things.
Most people like to interview about as much as they like to speak in public, and few people know how to interview. Fortunately, it doesn't have to be that bad. With the right preparation, you can learn what makes a great interview.
People who have interviewed well for me have come in knowing something about the company and the position, and they avoid using trite statements like I have a great work ethic or I'm a team player, but rather they demonstrate that through past examples of other positions that they've held.
And you're going to need to do your homework and find out as much about the company as you can, and ask me questions when you're in there. Show me that you're interested. As a hiring manager, when I'm interviewing, I expect you to know your resume inside and out and to be able to answer all of my questions effectively.
To have a great interview, you should really, first of all, come in with that positive attitude. You want to stay upbeat, you want to stay proactive, but also too, at the same point in time, you want to show people how specifically you can make a positive impact on their business immediately.
When I'm interviewing, I'm looking for an individual with some energy, some passion for the position, and confidence in themselves. Know your resume, be specific, and ask the interviewer questions that you would like to know about the company.
In this section, you will learn how to start an interview, how to answer the most common questions both honestly and accurately, how to ask the 3 most important questions, and how to close the interview smoothly and successfully. By the time you finish this section, you'll be ready to go to your next interview confident and relaxed and prepared to get your next offer. So, let's get started.
After listening to that video, it brings me to another story. There was a lady, the lady who attended another one of my classes, a training class on fiber optics. And after the, excuse me, and after the class, after the training was over, we had arranged for them to meet with different companies to interview them to see if they could fill in the open positions. Well, this young lady, she met with Spectrum. She had never done any cabling. All that she had done was come through the cabling class. She had never worked in hardware, cabling, wiring, none of that. So she went to Spectrum and went to the interview, and she came back a day or two later and she said she got hired. I said, well, great. I must be a great teacher if they're going to hire you and you didn't have any cabling experience at all. Well, anyway, a couple of weeks later, the guy that hired her came by to stop by the class, and we were sitting there talking. And he said, during the interview, he felt as if they were being interviewed. He said she had so many questions that she wanted to know about the company, about the job, and about what she would be doing, that he actually felt as if he was being interviewed by her. So that's why they hired her. So that's the importance of an interview. Now, as we talk about these interviews, as we talk about this website, there's a wonderful tool up here called the interview tool. If you click on it, what this tool does, and we'll go through one question so I can show you how it works. I'm not going to go through the whole interview, but it's interactive. What you do, you click start. This guy is the interviewer and he asks you questions, but it shows you and it records you as you answer the questions. And I'm gonna just give you an example of one of the ways it works. We're not gonna go through but one question. So you click start interview. Oh, we can't do it while we're on Zoom. It's not gonna allow, because what happens is it shows you in this bottom camera, it shows him in this top camera. He asks you questions, you reply to the questions that he asked you. It records that interview and it places it over here in this. Well, here's one that I may have. Let's see if this works. Yeah, here it is.
Thank you for interviewing with us today. I'm interested in learning more about you than what's in your resume here. Could you tell me a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Right now I'm teaching a class on how to become a strong candidate, and we're looking at the interview module. See, so that's how that module, let me go ahead and get rid of that. But that's how that module works. It's actually interactive. He asks you questions, he's looking at you, and he keeps repeating those questions. And then you can see how you react to those questions, and you can play it back, and you can go over it so you can become a better interviewer. Again, this website is set up solely so you can become a strong candidate and so that you can land those positions that are out there that you're seeking. And again, one of the things that this website does is it builds your confidence. And with confidence being built, you can't help but become a strong candidate in any job that you're seeking. Well, let me see if Anissa has anything she wants to tell us about a program that the Urban League offers before I come back and do a recap of what we went over today.
Thank you, James. Have to give grace for technology sometimes. It is my pleasure to share with you all just a couple more things that the Urban League is doing over the next several months. First, looking at the screen now, we still have the link for you to register for one of the Urban League trainings that you've already seen here today. It is the same link that I've presented on each and every slide. It is still the same funny looking square over here to register for one of our upcoming sessions as well. So our next Workforce Wednesday webinar is happening on June the 2nd, and we'll be speaking with a member from Truist who's going to be talking about home ownership. So home ownership is one of those things that many people don't think that they're qualified to do, but I'm here to tell you that you can purchase a home. And even if you can't do it right now, the thing to know with attending this webinar and meeting with someone is to understand what it is that you need to improve, say, on your credit score or things like that that you can take care of that are helping you to prepare to move that way. Again, the other trainings that we have the cabling and fiber optics training coming up on June 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th from 6 until 8:30 p.m. And then we also have the Microsoft Word training that we spoke about a little bit earlier from July 12th through the 29th, Mondays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. And James, I do want to say that one of my favorite components of that Next Job software is the interview tool. I actually went through it myself, and as he was asking questions, I found myself stumbling over things, but being able to look at it once again and see where it was that I messed up or whatever did build my confidence in being able to go back through the training or through that interview process again.
Thank you, Anissa. Ms. Carly, do you have any other job openings as we begin to close this day out that you can tell us about?
Yes, I have one more, and that's Culver of Lexington. It pays $14.50 to $15.75 an hour. You have part-time and full-time positions, and you have to be able to work in the day shift or night shift.
Well, great. So I'm going to recap this, what we went over today. I mean, again, thank you, Ms. Carly, for telling us about the job openings out there. And that's why we're doing this webinar. So people who are looking for jobs can become strong candidates when they go to pursue those jobs. Now, what we've done today, we looked at how to maneuver through this website. Again, when we up here and we're using these icons at the top, it changes our toolbar right here. So to get out of that, there's a couple of different ways. You can click on the training tab, or you can click on the home tab. We click on the home tab. We double click on the home tab. And it brings us back to what we're used to seeing as far as the different training modules. We look at our home module. That's where we set our goals. These goals are linked to specific training modules in the website. So after we did that, we created a plan. This plan is a printable plan. I'm gonna click on it right here. It's a printable plan. Again, you can put notes in here. This is all interactive, but it's a printable plan that you print out, and it tells you, well, it asks you how much, it tells you how much time is required, or they expect you to allocate to go through the different training modules. All these training modules may not be used by you. Some of them won't be applicable. Some of them will be. Pick the ones that apply to you. Look at what they suggest, the amount of time you spend on them. Then you will know, well, you'll have an estimate of how much time your job search is going to take. So we're going to go back to the home to get out of this, because again, this changes. We will click on the home tab. I'm going to switch here in a second. Then we looked at career direction. Again, the career direction forces you to find out more about yourself through the different assessments and the different training modules that they take you to, where they ask you to answer questions about yourself. So you'll be more confident in yourself, and you'll be able to understand your strength and your weaknesses. And it actually prepares you for the interview in case the prospective employer asks you any questions such as, why did you choose this job? That type of thing. This training module forces you to address those questions. Then we talked about the resume, the different types of ways to build a resume, why resumes are important. We can build it by going through the modules. And when I go through them, I like to hit the expand all tab, because it shows you, and these you can click around. You don't have to go in any particular order as you go through this. You can click around and choose the ones that fit what you're trying to do. So I like to use the expand all. But we looked at building the resume, how important the resume was, because the hiring manager, they said, normally takes only about 20 seconds to decide if you're in the keep pile or in the move on pile. Then we looked at the visible jobs, the job searches. The visible jobs are the jobs that appear on job boards. The hidden jobs are jobs that are not advertised, but you find through your own personal networks. All right. We looked at how you can maneuver around through the website. Let me click on something so we can maneuver. We looked at how we can maneuver through the website. You can click the back and the next arrow, or you can hit the page up and page down arrows to take you through the different modules that you want to go through. We looked at that. After we looked at that, we looked at some of how these tabs up here work. These are all interactive tabs. This one allows you to build the resume. This one is the interview tool that Anissa just talked about, where it recorded you. I just showed you that one, where it records your interview, where the guy asks you questions. You can play that back to see what you need to improve on. We talked about the long resume, why it was important. We haven't talked about the cover letter or the new jobs or contacting employees. But again, this information will be covered in later webinars. We'll be doing 30-minute webinars precisely to cover some of these things. And we talked about the interview process. So that's what we covered today. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. With that, I'm gonna turn it back over to Anissa, and thank you all for attending